Hi everyone, it's Laura here for Studio Katia, and in today's video I'm going to share with you how to create a simple yet very cute Christmas card. The stamp set that I'll be using today is the Friends of Winter stamp set. It features a little elf, a reindeer, a snowman and Santa. And today I'm going to be using the image of this cute little elf that I'm stamping with alcohol-proof ink by Spectrum Noir on some pencil paper, also by Spectrum Noir, and I'll be coloring it with my color blend pencils. These are wax-based pencils that can be blended with each other, and I'm going to start coloring the face of this little elf, adding the shadows as if the light was coming from the top left of the screen, so that my darker areas are on the right and on the lower portion of the image. I'm then going to come in with my mid-tone pencil and blend the two together and add some color, extending the areas that I have colored already. And finally, I'm going to add my highlight color. With colored pencils, it's important to work with a light hand and to build your depth by working with layers. I am already at my second layer here, and for the larger areas I will even have 3 or 4 layers. It does take some time, but don't be tempted to rush it and to push with your hands. First of all, because you will get tired very easily, at least I do. And second, because if you press from the get-go, you will not be able to blend your colors together because you will basically flatten out your paper and the pencils will kind of slide on top of the color you have already on your paper rather than, merge together in a way. So work with the light hand and work in layers. And if this is something you don't particularly enjoy, you can use a blending solution to blend your pencils. That will definitely make the whole coloring process a little bit faster. Or you could instead just opt to color with alcohol markers or with watercolors if you prefer. Coming back to the card, I have used this stamp set and this particular stamp several times in the past, and every single time I have colored his clothes with green colors. But this time, because of the color scheme that I have on my card, I decided to switch things up and go for red instead. And I really like the way the different colors play with each other on the card. For the trousers, I went for a dark gray color and I also used some light grays to shade in the white areas. I die cut everything with the coordinating dies and then I moved on and started working on the rest of the card. I die cut some Bristol Smooth cardstock with the dotted shaker tag by Studio Katia, and I also created a small hue using the Trimmings Borders dies in combination with that same tag die. I'm going to blend Distress inks in Salty Ocean and Tumbled Glass on my hue, starting from the bottom and moving towards the top. I'm going to leave the top white because I just want to add some shading to this white snow hue. And then for the tag, I decided to go for some green and some blues. This will be the sky. As always, I like creating small scenes on my cards. Even if this is not a full scene card, I still had to create a little scene on this tag. So I'm going to blend Cracked Pistachio, Evergreen Bow, Mermaid Lagoon and Blueprint Sketch, starting with the lightest ink, which is Cracked Pistachio at the bottom, and then blending my way towards the top to finish everything up with Blueprint Sketch. And I really like to have this contrasting color palette with reds and then blues on my Christmas cards. I think it's very impactful and really beautiful. So I use this color scheme very often on my holiday cards especially. As you have seen from the pictures at the beginning of this video, the card design is pretty simple, and I decided that I wanted to spice things up a little bit. So I'm going to use the White Puff embossing powder by Wow to coat the top of the hue. I used first a finger dauber to add some white pigment ink at the top of the hue so that that area would be wet and I would be able to sort of have the embossing powder stick there. And then I coated that area with the powder and heat set it with my heat gun. And the reason why I chose this particular powder is that it puffs up and it creates a very lovely texture on your cards, which is perfect for snow. I wanted to do the same on my tag, and I first checked that the distressings that I have there were completely dry so that the embossing powder wouldn't stick anywhere I don't want it to. And then I used this confetti stencil. This is perfect for a snowfall. And again, with a finger dauber, I'm going to apply this white pigment ink over the entire background. Versamark ink would work as well. And then once I was done applying my ink, I coated the tag again with this white puff embossing powder, and I used my heat gun to heat set it. And I think that by adding these small details on simple designs, you can take your cards up a notch without too much effort and without it taking too long. And by the way, there is also a version of this embossing powder which has glitter in it too. I glued the snowy hill to the base of the tag, and then off camera I die cut some red cardstock to an A2 size using the Darling Ribbon and Frames dies, and another panel out of some white cardstock using the Dotted Patterns Set 3 dies. I decided to add a little bit of interest by raising the tag over one layer of foam tape. This is Scotch 3M foam tape. I coated the entire back, I removed the lining paper, and then I glued down the tag on my card front. I played around with the positioning a little bit, and then once I found an arrangement that I liked, I went ahead and pressed down the tag so that the tape would stick to the base of the card. And then I adhered the little elf to the bottom right corner of the tag, slightly off the margin of the tag to add a little bit of interest that way too. Off camera, I die cut the same red cardstock that I have on my base using one of the dies in the Darling Ribbon and Frames dies. This way I created this little ribbon that I glued at the top of the tag. And to finish off the card, well, almost, I heat embossed my sentiment with white embossing powder over some black cardstock. And the reason why I said almost is that I couldn't resist and I had to add a few embellishments too. And the July crystals were the perfect shade of red to match the rest of the colors on my tag. So I scattered them on my card front, and then I'm using a jewel picker and my Studio Katia glue to adhere them in place. As a last step, I adhered everything to a top folding A2 card base cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5 1/2 inches, and that finished off my card. And here you can see the final result. I really love the way this card turned out. I think it's very cute, and those little details like the white puff embossing powder and the jewel crystals make it even more special. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe for more card making and paper crafting inspiration. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a great day.